So I'm not sure what all was mentioned, but I did see people mention a couple of other anime DVDs, as if, you know, maybe they wanted me to go through them real quick. So here we have When They Cry, all the individual DVDs. It's a very, very interesting series. And then Eureka 7 was the other one. And as you can see, I bought the individual DVDs version of this. No special edition, because at the time I wasn't specifically hunting down special editions. I didn't quite get to the point where I was caught up on everything, financially secure enough to just spend it on silly things like a second copy of Dokuro-chan or another copy of Shakugan or Shana. So, obviously, I'm in a good spending position. But this, I might not go back and get it because these are all 12 DVDs and then the movie. And I'm fairly pleased with the series generally. Don't always need the specials. I just like to be consistent. That, and now since I can spend money on specials, I can show it to y'all. So once again, my watching has been a little slow this week. This was the main thing I tried to watch. I watched it all. But I was having trouble actually suspending disbelief, mostly because I thought the entire concept of a Kingdom on the Moon was a bit silly. At the same time, there were probably little decision problems in the anime where it's basically trying to tell a very stereotypical harem romance story, I guess. Romance is probably closer in this case since it's focusing on the relationship between a specific boy and girl. But anyway, even though it's supposed to be an entire kingdom on the moon, sometimes it didn't really feel like an entire kingdom. So if you can overlook that kind of stuff, it's got plenty of your basic stereotypes in there. I don't think they necessarily had a tsundere, unless you count that one girl beating up her brother. Don't know. It was okay, other than those couple of things I mentioned. I watched Bleach DVD 29, and very exciting. You know, at some point I probably wasn't going to put this on my anime media server immediately, but this made me change my mind because it was some pretty exciting regular Bleach stuff. Now, I didn't watch all of the dubbed version, but I did watch the first episode. Mostly because I've watched the original Dokuro-chan, especially the first episode, a whole lot. And so I thought that would be enough to evaluate what I thought of the dub. And actually, I think the dub turned out pretty good. Probably because the original Dokuro-chan wasn't as dependent upon the voices and just the voices being a part of the character. It's a lot more what characters do, or rather what exactly to say, as opposed to making you feel like you have this real connection with them and your heart's going to burst because you're crying too much. You know, compared to Clannad, which I reviewed recently, which got a dub. So, about the only thing that would have been bad would have been the Dokuro's signature saying "pipiru-piru-pipiru-pi," and I was expecting that to at least not feel right, but actually it felt pretty natural and smooth, and overall I think it was actually a good dub. And then there was a Zettai Muteki Raijin-oh, which appears to be the only DVD released by Anime Midstream, maybe? And I think this was released back in January, so they probably dropped the project afterwards. So there's interesting things about it. It's just, there's also things about it that are a bit silly. I mean, it's got a dub, and I was almost expecting it not to have one. But there's those little problems with the dub that you'll notice when a company hasn't been doing it a whole lot, or doesn't have a whole lot of money or something. I'm not sure what it is. But you kind of notice those subtle things like some voices occasionally being a little too quiet, or not enough emotion there, or sometimes the emotion's just slightly off what you would expect a Japanese character to be saying. But to be fair, I did not watch the original Japanese dub version, so I can't eliminate the possibility that the Japanese dub was equally as bad. And you always have subtitles to fall back on if you want to. At that point, it becomes a question of the content, and it's a fairly stereotypical 80s to 90s mecha anime, I guess. You could think something like Mini Voltron, I guess. So it didn't look like it would turn out kind of like Gao Gai Gar, where it's just kind of doing things a little insane over the top, but overflowing with Gar. I think that's the right word. But at the same time, there was this interesting thing where, like, this character, he opens up his uniform and he has these teeth thing that this little fairy thing can. It's kind of nightmare fuelish. It'd be interesting to see if it did more stuff. But unfortunately, again, since it's the first DVD, I probably won't get to see more, and, oh well. So Dokuro-chan is out of the picture now, and this only leaves an anime I mentioned I placed an order for, just in case it came out. Sayonara Zetsuba Sensei Volume 1, which, as somebody mentioned, Clipeo? Well, as they mentioned, it was most likely canceled, and that's still a very real possibility since Amazon and DVD Aficionado do not have pictures of the potential DVD, but it's still there on Amazon. It says it usually ships in 2 to 5 weeks, so that may still actually come out. It's still on my radar. I'll let y'all know if it ever does, since I'll obviously show it. Otherwise, the Naruto Uncut Season 3 Volume 1 box set was released today, well, Tuesday. But the other two things that were potentially coming out, Ikita's and Dragon Destiny Volume 3 got delayed till next week, and Fist of the North Star got delayed to July 27th. So the interesting thing about Ikita's and Dragon Destiny Volume 3 being delayed to next week is that's July 6th, and as I've mentioned in the past, Mobile Suit Gundam Zeta movies and the Mobile Suit Gundam 00 Season 2 Part 2 all got delayed to July 6th. So I guess when you get down to it, there's probably not a good chance that they're all coming out then. I also see a couple of other things that might be iffy, so we'll have to see what happens. But it's a fairly entertaining month, I would think, especially with new DVDs from companies that haven't released DVDs before, and Ghost releases hovering in the background. You know, pretty cool stuff. So feel free to keep coming back to find out what happens. Bye.